How's it going, guys? It's Flint here from Backyard Blasters. Today we're doing a bit of a unique video. I have not done a modification on any toy gun in a long time. Today we're doing one on the Glock 17 gel ball blaster. Here it is, looking very nice. Now this is technically going to be the reversal of a modification because I've already put an upgraded spring in here, which I'm going to now be taking out and putting the original back in, simply because I haven't seen a huge change in performance between the original and I think this spring that's currently in there is a little bit too strong. So start off by unscrewing all the screws. If you're a little bit fancy, you can get one of these screwdrivers, which is a ratchet on the end. Saves quite a bit of time. So you're going to take the slide off here. If you're wondering how you can keep track of your screws, you can either put them into a little tray of some sort, like a lid to a plastic container or something, or a bowl, or you can leave them in the screw ports and then just remove the piece. Now it is just in under there. There you go. This here is the lid which keeps all the ammo in there. And now's a good time to show you how it all works. So this is the tray where the ammo sits, the little 6mm gel balls, 6 to 7mm, and it just feeds down into this barrel, and then when you cock this back, compresses the spring. There's a plunger in here, and then that, when you pull the trigger, releases the plunger, pushes air out, which in turn pushes the little gel ball out. And this is very similar to how a Nerf gun works. Okay, then you've got a few more screws to undo, because you do actually have to take the whole thing apart. You will need a flathead at one point. This is when you take your flathead and just make your way around the shell. Whoops. So at this point, if there's any tension, because I've already put a bigger spring in there, there's quite a bit of tension, which is why it just pushed forward and jumped out of its position. There's the bigger spring that was in there, and we're replacing it with the standard stock spring. So this here, that's called your shell. Completely empty, there's nothing in there. The other one, it's got all the screws, so I've kept track of them, so they're all there. Put that to the side. Then you're left with your internal pieces. So this is the hopper, the bit that holds all the ammo, and your barrel runs all the way to the end here. Your spring, this is your plunger tube. So when cocked back, this pulls back, and then when you pull the trigger, pushes forward, and obviously that creates a seal in there and pushes out air. Then you've got your trigger, your catch. So this is what catches onto the underside of this to hold it back, and then when you pull the trigger, this releases it. So let's put it into the shell, and this will allow me to show you it a bit better. There's the stock spring, and there's the spring that goes along the barrel, and this is just what puts tension on the slide, so when you're cocking it back, it snaps back forward. Then the stock spring, so that slides in there. This slides along here. There's a little rail that this piece runs along. See how it's got the rail, like this edge there? So that's got to run along this rail. Okay, so that sits in there like so. Now be careful, because this is when pieces are going to want to jump out. Probably best I do that bit last. Put our trigger and catch in. There's your basic assembly. You can just add the barrel and the hopper. Put that trigger back in there. So this is your trigger catch. So when the plunger tube comes back, it's going to lock in under this piece, and then the trigger's going to set it off. This is very tedious. Okay, so if you were doing a spring upgrade, that's where you'd change the spring. It's here. So the next step, we got to put the other half on. Beautiful. I'm going to do that back up. And remember, folks, when you're modifying a toy gun, or whether it's a Nerf gun or a water gun, I don't know, whatever you're modifying, any toy, you're doing it at your own risk. Because you're taking it apart. You know, you could make a mistake, but it's a lot of fun, and it's very rewarding. It's really a great hobby, and there's a lot of communities around it. There's a lot of communities around airsoft and gel ball blasters now. Sharing, you know, people share tips and tricks. There's lots of different mods you can do, from replacing the barrel to the spring, to the hopper, to adding an actual hop-up system so that it puts spin on the gel ball. Hop-ups are in a lot of airsoft guns, and the same thing can be added to gel ball blasters. This spring is also under a bit of tension, so you've got to kind of like push that back in as you put the slide back on. It's better to do the other side first because this has got all the screw ports in it. And lastly, don't forget about the hopper door. This is like with Nerf guns. People always forget to put the tactical rail piece back in. There's nothing worse than putting the whole thing back together and then realizing that you missed something. Like a minute, no trigger. And there you have it, folks. That's how you modify a gel ball blaster. Pretty straightforward. This is your basic gel ball blaster. Manual, cock it back and fire. Electric ones will be a little bit different because they'll have a gearbox similar to that of an airsoft gun. Probably do a modification on one of them in the future, or at least show you guys the internals of one. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Remember to stay safe, be responsible, and have fun. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.